With every newborn baby, a little sun rises. And that's a quote by Ermengarde Earth. Ermengarde. It's Ermengarde. Welcome again to my show, The Profitable Photographer, or for the first time. If you haven't been to lucydumascoaching.com, Lucy with an I, you haven't discovered my book called uh, 10 Big Ideas for Marketing in the Real World. My jam is to be out there in the world, not just sitting at our computer. And so I made this little free ebook. So pop over there, download it. I think you will gain some good stuff. So the reason I did that quote is because my guest today, Ashley Lauder, and I both love babies, right?
Very true.
Yeah. For me, it's like the sun comes up when a baby's in the room. And how does it feel to you?
Oh yeah. It's new, it's pure, it's just it's happiness, you know. A baby is happiness, even when they're
Absolutely.
not so happy.
Right, right. So she's a boutique style portrait photographer in Huntsville, Alabama, and her focus is maternity and newborn. I realize that I haven't had very many newborn photographers on this show for some reason. Since I love them the most in the world, I don't know why. So I reached out to some people who have a lot to share about that. And that's why Ashley is here today. She has structured her business specifically for exceptional client experiences that result in stunning, treasured artwork that families can enjoy for years to come. Um, she has a passion not only for photography, but as a teacher and speaker. She loves for photographers to understand that there is room for everyone at the table. What she says is that we are in an industry that deserves collaboration and love and not to worry about competition. And she said 15 years ago, she wishes someone had told her she was worth more. So um, she wants every single newborn to not burn themselves out, but to be highly profitable, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, can you give us a little short bio about how you got into this crazy career?
Sure, yeah. Excuse me. I went to school to college thinking I was going to be a musician, and I still am, but I don't make my money that way.
Hmm.
I went to school to be a musician, and as part of my course list, I had to take a freshman art credit. And my sister just happened to have a DSLR. And so I decided to take the photography class because that was going to be the cheapest route since I already had access to a camera.
Hmm.
And by the end of my freshman year, I actually ended up calling home and saying, I'm so sorry. I know you bought me a piano. I know I was going to be a musician, but I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to become a photographer. Um, and the funny thing is, when I got into photography, I kind of put down a line in the sand and said, I'm never going to be a portrait photographer because I'm really, I've never really been a big people person. I'm honestly very introverted. Uh,
Hmm.
but I learned that through, you know, becoming a mom and growing and things like that, that I loved babies. And part of that is that they don't really talk back. They don't, you
Hmm.
know, I don't have to break the ice with a newborn. I can just they love me as me and I love them as them and it works that way. But it all started with a freshman art credit and just falling in love with the darkroom, really.
I love that story. Um, and babies are especially great for the little more introverted photographer because you don't have to do things to make them comfortable. I mean, yes, they need to be safe and comfortable and dry and fed and healthy and all those things, but we don't have to do like handstands and somersaults to get them to have expressions when
Just
they're
for their parents and older siblings.
right. Exactly. Yes, it does morph into, oh, yes, we need to be able to manage the bigger people too. But I love that. I hadn't thought about that before. So tell me just a little about your business, your structure. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
stuff
so you
like
mentioned that I'm a boutique style portrait photographer. I My focus is not on really delivering pictures. That's what people come to me thinking that they want is pictures. But they end up leaving with a full experience, and that's really what I focus on. So my business is structured in a way that I take care of my clients from the first phone call to art hanging on the wall, um, really hand holding and making sure that they have an incredible experience. What I tell every single one of my moms that is on the phone with me is my goal is for you to have as stress-free of a process as possible. I want you to be able to walk into my studio with your baby in a diaper, and I will take care of the rest. And I mean, from hair and makeup to prop sets, outfits, hats, headbands, backdrops, everything. And we really want it to be something where they don't have to be sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna wear? What is my husband gonna wear?"
that.
Do I want it to be dinosaur themed? I don't know. Like, I
Mm.
I take care of everything on purpose, and I do it in a way that makes them feel like they are being pampered and that they are being pampered, and that's I structure it that way, partially because I don't like the volume stuff. It's just not my jam. It's not my thing.
Mhm.
And really, when you provide a higher value like that, you can charge higher amounts, and then I'm not spending hours and hours every single day in the studio shooting, and I'm more taking care of my clients.
Right, right. Um, if the dad's coming in, does he just show up in a diaper too?
Oh, I actually have had that for from dads. So we do have a studio policy. Dad cannot show up in a medically unnecessary diaper. um,
Yeah, I used to have a supply of black long sleeve shirts and turtlenecks
mhm.
for the moms and the dads if they showed up not quite
Yeah,
right
and I
because
have a client closet. I actually go to my clients' homes and help them pick out clothes for their family, but I tell her that if she wants to wear anything in my closet, she's welcome to.
Mhm.
And so I've got all kinds of dresses. There's usually a couple that end up being the ones that we use because they're the most simple and easy to work with. But um, yeah, it's meant to be completely taken care of.
I love it. I love it. Um, so you do maternity and babies. So talk about how you approach maternity. To me, there's the, okay, stand here, put one hand on the top of your belly, one hand down below, but don't go too far down. And that looks a little awkward. But tell me more about how you approach maternity, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
just a little
Well, I think it
extra.
starts with getting to know my client. If I can understand why she wants maternity portraits and really what is at the core of that, then I can help provide it. So there are times that somebody comes to me and she's never had a professional portrait in her life. And she doesn't, a lot of times they're scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I'm pregnant and this is what you're supposed to do. And so I need your help. And that's where I can kind of help unlock some little things about her and her aspirations and her love of herself and her joy and just this whole transformational period from being like, let's just say Jane to I always say this is a big time. You're not just Jane anymore. You're Jane and your mom. And I
Mm,
have the opportunity to show that story and that transformation from the time that it's happening. And so that's a lot of it has to get to do get yeah, a lot of it has to do with getting to know them. And I even ask every single one of my clients, when you look at these portraits, what do you want to see in yourself? What do you want to feel when you look at these
mm,
portraits? Are you wanting to feel sexy and elegant or empowering or courageous or strong, or is it more tender and maternal and connected and joyful and blissful, or
mm,
how do we want to describe this? How do we want to feel? And that always ends up directing the conversation in a way that lets me know where their mind is at, because I'm going to approach a session very differently if I've got somebody who wants a very bold statement like sexy borderline boudoir kind of photo shoot
right?
versus somebody who is like, no, this is a moment in my life I want to document. I want to feel connected and present and maternal and tender, and it's more about the connection. So we approach it based on her is really how I first started.
I love that. And what I'm hearing too is in having that conversation, you're also sort of being like a counselor, getting her
Yep.
thinking about that she's two now. I loved what you said about that. And sometimes just asking somebody how they want to feel, they've never thought about it. So, I think that conversation has benefits that are far beyond, oh, we're going to get the picture that she
Yeah.
wants, but that you help them go deeper
And
into,
that's the goal, to have them go deeper.
yes, yes.
I like I said, people call me thinking that they want pictures, and then they leave realizing that they need more. They need more than just a picture.
Hmm.
And if the photo is going to be meaningful, it has to actually capture them as a person. Because this isn't just like oh, we're in a cool place, let's take a picture because we're here. This isn't us
Right.
visiting the Eiffel Tower. This
Hmm.
is, which is still cool. It's still important. It's still
Sure.
wonderful. But this is literally a once in a lifetime thing. When somebody transitions between becoming an individual to becoming a mom, you can get married again.
Yeah.
You can get married again, and we do have more kids, but that first time kid especially, and then every kid after that being that's a very unique journey. I don't know if you have kids, but I've got 4, and every single pregnancy, every single time was a very unique journey,
Hmm.
and you can't do it again. Like, you
Right.
just can't.
Yeah. I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and I was both for my great niece and her child. I was the person that was there, so sort of
Yeah.
the anti doula. So,
Yeah. Yes.
I've been really tied to that. By the way, is my sound okay? I dropped my mic earlier and I forgot to do a
Yeah.
check.
I
Yes?
can hear you just fine. Yep.
Okay. And if people are on video and you want to see the little fashion decisions that we both made
Right?
today,
We did not
we're
plan
the
this. It
polka
just
dot
happened.
girls. I love it. It's a polka dot day. I just love everything that you just said. So, how is it different or similar when you're having the discussion with them about the baby portraits?
I honestly keep it almost exactly the same. Um, the newborn portraits they're newborn portraits. They're gonna love those photos unless you really, really, really botch them, which is tough to do with a newborn.
Mhm.
They're gonna love those. Yeah, they're gonna love that baby's pictures. Uh, as long as you've got some experience, you know what you're doing with your camera, and you can make some intelligent design decisions, you're fine. Really, when it's the adults in the photo, that's when things get a little bit like, I want to make sure I do this right.
Mhm.
And so I do approach it the same way as like, how do you want to see these? Do you want, like, what is important to you? How do you want to see yourself? How do you want to see your partner? How do you think your partner wants to see
Mm.
themselves? I don't ask that question about the kids, and I tell them this on purpose. I tell them I don't need to ask that question about kids. Kids show us who they are immediately, and my job is to be able to see that and capture it. I don't need you to tell me. Now, I will ask questions like, what are they into? Do we like Bluey? Are we into Spider-Man?
Mhm.
Do we like Wheels on the Bus? What's going to get their attention? But for the most part, when it comes to the newborn portraits, I'm not terribly worried outside of like, let's make sure we've got the right color scheme that you like. And a lot of that comes down to me visiting them in their home too,
Oh,
um, which I do before every session. I visit them in their home. And, but having that conversation about what is important to them, what they love, and uh, really why they're having the portraits taken is pivotal to making sure that this is a custom session for them.
I love it. Okay, so that leads me to want to know about the steps with the client
Yeah.
um, when they first contact you to the session to the sales, how you approach that.
Absolutely. So my system is that typically people will end up on my website or on my link tree from social media, and they will schedule a call with me on my website, and it just
Great.
goes directly to my calendar. We have that call. It can go anywhere between 15 minutes and an hour, depending on how chatty we are. I find that a lot of times the people who want like need this the most, end up talking the most, I'm not the one talking. They are. And if I can get them talking and really get them to engage with me and tell me what is behind that I want photos and why, then I can guarantee this is going to be a good client professional relationship. So we have that phone call, and that's when we book. So I will book them in my calendar at that point, and we schedule their consultation, and that's where I actually go to their home. And that's a big part of the process for me. It's a really big part of the process for me. I learned that from Megan DePiro actually,
Hmm.
and she's the one who I learned the basic structure of my workflow from her. I have tweaked it to my own needs, but that's where I learned it. Um, and going to the home was really one of the biggest things I learned from her is that if I can be in their space, and on one note, going into somebody's home psychologically invites them into you're being invited into their personal space.
Right.
You are now part of their inner circle. You're in their home. And that's kind of a big deal. Um, whether they realize it or not, me being invited into their home and then on top of it asking, "Hey, show me around your home. I want to be able to see where I could put portraits on the walls even
Mhm.
if you're not sure if you want in there or not." Um, that's another big thing. I'm being invited around their home, and I even tell them, "Hey, let me go into your closet with you. I will help pull clothes out for your kids, for your husband, for you. If you want something that's, you know, less formal and more casual, let's do it." And how many people have you had in your closet with you? I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Mhm.
not very many.
A professional
So
organizer probably is the only one.
and that brings up another great note. I'm putting myself on the same level as those concierge service type professionals.
Right.
So, professional organizers, people who come in to do custom design work for homes,
Hmm.
custom furniture makers, all those types of people that are very concierge service, I am putting myself on that same level. But we do that next is that consultation. It also really grounds or like I guess anchors is the word I'm looking at, really anchors this concept of having custom artwork in their home because I do bring my samples and that's where they hold them, that's where they go through them, they touch them, they it becomes a part of what is the experience for them and it really just kind of lays that foundation. Um and then after that we do the session itself. So when I'm doing maternity and newborn, I really usually only have one consultation in the home. I don't feel the need to beat a dead horse and have a million consultations, but we will go ahead and have the maternity session depending on if it's in my studio or outdoors. And then within a week, you know, a couple of days, I'm back at their home doing a soft proofing session, order appointment with them. And we will figure out what they love and we'll order their artwork and get it all set up and ready to go. And we do the exact same thing with newborn. My goal is for them to have their maternity portraits done and preferably their artwork as well, if possible, timeline wise with vendors before baby's even here. Because we all know that once a mom has the baby, the maternity portraits, all of a sudden, I don't care.
Oh, absolutely. My
So
experience has been that if they're like, well, can't we just order these, the maternity and the baby at the same time? The maternity gets
good,
not
but
very much.
I
uh,
mean, I'm honest with them and tell them most people don't. Most people will get them now because it's important to you now, and your life is gonna change a lot, and so it will become less of something that is important to you once the baby's born, but then in 5 years, you're gonna wish you had.
mhm.
So, I mean, I wouldn't wait.
Right,
And
right.
yeah.
Absolutely. So in-home ordering session, do you bring a projector? Do you plug into their TV? How do you show
I
them?
actually oh, you can't see it because it's right here, but I actually have an iMac right here that I take with me. It's big, and I mean, I know it
Okay.
is. It's like a what is this? A 24, 25-inch
27.
iMac. And I actually walk up to the door holding the box, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, wow, that's big." I'm like, "I know. Yeah, I'm extra, but I want you to be able to see these." And I know it's
Right,
color calibrated.
right.
I know it's over the top. I could bring a projector. I could plug into their TV or whatever, what have you, but I've done it this way for so long. I've considered changing it.
So
This is
I
what I do.
the beauty of a projector is that you, especially at their home, you can project it right into that space. In iMac, you can barely show them an 11 by 14 vertical, whereas with a projector, which is no less awkward or no more awkward than bringing. your iMac, you can show a 4 foot tall vertical image. And
Well,
so I tend to sell
true.
big, 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 but you've been in their home already.
So
You've
I already
talked
have
about
pictures of
sizes.
their, yep, I already have pictures of their walls because I took them.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I'm there first, is because I take those photos of their walls and then I already have wall designs ready for them when
Mhm.
I get there. They're
Right.
done.
Right. So y- some people that haven't done that kind of planning and haven't gone to their homes, if they're not showing them large, may have more challenges selling larger wall art than you
Oh
do
yeah.
because you've got a system uh, where they are already thinking about it and you're showing them the potential. So yeah,
Yep.
many ways to skin a cat.
Absolutely.
Since we didn't beat a dead horse, we're gonna skin a cat. Okay, so I wanted to get into the session itself a bit. Is there
Yeah.
anything else about this workflow before we move on to actually
Um,
photographing the babes?
just artwork delivery and installation. I do that
Yeah.
afterwards as well.
Do you install or do you have somebody?
I do install.
Ah,
Yes.
and that's why you need to charge well and why you're worth it and um, why you don't need to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm too expensive because the level of service you're giving is all the way to the end.
It is. And I mean, as far as what to charge, I'm a very literal thinker and
Hmm.
a big numbers person, hashtag neurodivergent millennial here.
Mm.
Um, so when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to charge, forever ago, it came down to, well, what am I doing? And I had to actually work backwards and say, well, this is what I'm doing. Like, how many hours is this? Okay, this is how many hours there are. Well, how much do I need to make in a year? Okay, that's how much I need to make in a year, and this is how many hours it takes per client. How many clients can I do per month? And if this is how much I need to make per month, then how much do I need to charge or how much do I need to get on average per client based on those numbers of hours to be able to make my year goal?
Hmm.
And how am I going to structure that accordingly to make sure that average is very attainable, if not inevitable? And so it all comes down to just it's a puzzle, it's a math puzzle, and I love that kind of thing, but I know that some other people don't.
What I love about this, uh, and I love that term math puzzle. When I'm coaching people, that's exactly what we do, is we go to the end goal and and then break it down. And usually they're like, oh, it's easier than I thought
Mhm.
to achieve this. If I need 2,000 a client and I want to earn X, then I only need this many clients per month.
Yep.
And and yeah, so I love that. Um, okay, I had a good thought in there. Oh, what I also love is that you've separated the work from the worth.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's a good quote.
Mhm.
Trademark, Lucy. Separate your work from your worth. I
Put
think
it on a t-shirt. It's yours now.
yeah, I think I'll do a solo episode on that because I don't know about your experience and when you've been teaching and supporting others or your own, but this is our art. This is
Mhm.
our passion. This is our blood, sweat, and tears. And if people don't purchase it, we can be like, oh, they don't love me and I'm not worthy of living a good
Aren't
life.
aren't we as artistic folk so dramatic?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there before and I still do. Every time that I'm in an order appointment and a client doesn't pick my favorite image, I'm like, "Oh, oh,
Oh,
what?"
yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, you do have to learn to separate, like, just because that's my favorite or something that I really had my heart set on doesn't mean that it's theirs. And if I really, really love it that much and I have to use it, I can gift it to them and that's my prerogative.
Right.
But like you said, having the balance of having an emotional connection to your work so that you can create something that is meaningful And having the ability to separate that and know when it's no longer needed is a skill. And it
Yes,
takes years to learn that.
right. And it's not about our worth. It's not about our value. That's very me focused.
Right.
And when I'm in the service, as you are, of the clients, the attention's on them. And so if they say we don't love this, I can separate. I don't go, oh, well, I'm a bad photographer or, whatever other thing we need to talk to our therapists or best friends about. So, yeah, I love
Yes.
that. All right.
And
So, can we talk a little? First, I want to ask you about lighting specifically for newborns because what I see and when I never did the what I call baby burrito. Um, thing. I had my own style, and a lot of times my newborns were a little bit older. Often their eyes were open. Often they were in the arms of the parents. A lot of black and white. But in photographing my nieces and nephews when they were teeny tiny, I found the challenge, when I was new at this, of lighting the mask of the face of a baby properly. And what I see a
right.
lot with newer newborns is it's just this flat lighting or the lights going towards them from the feet so they get those
Yeah,
weird Frankenstein shadows or too much from the head and then they get shadows in the eyes. So talk a
exactly.
little bit about lighting and your kind of thoughts and process.
So, think back to like any lighting class you have ever taken. They're pretty much always have a model sitting on a stool and they have their light and they move it around the model and show you, this is split lighting, this is loop lighting, this is a Rembrandt, this is flat, this is, and that's how it works, right?
Hmm.
But when you get started as a newborn photographer, you're not looking for that kind of a class because you're working with a newborn. So a lot of times newborn photographers don't actually get exposed to the same type of education that the rest of the portrait world does. So if it's a mom, for instance, that just says, "Hey, I'm good with my camera. I can do this. I want to make money. Um, I'm just going to go." There's a big gap in education as far as
Yes.
technique is concerned. And so I started realizing that when I started teaching workshops for newborn photographers, and I thought, well, okay, let me provide the exact same education, but this way, at a bird's eye view. And
Hmm.
so it's the exact same thing. Like, say I have a newborn lying down on a bed. We'll put him in a burrito. Lying down on a bed or in a basket or something. It's the exact same process. I do prefer to use round modifiers because of this.
Mm.
Um, and
Is
if
that
I
those little bubbly things that
I
looks
use a
like?
PLM,
Is that?
so, parabolic umbrella. So I use a
Okay.
massive
Oh, that
86
big.
inch
Okay.
PLM.
Got
That's
it.
what I tend to use because I really like that really soft feathered diffused light, and sometimes I'll even throw 2 diffusers on it, just because that's my preference. But, it's the same thing where when I'm teaching that we want to keep the light the same way we would with an adult. So
Mhm.
if I'm looking to have that nice feathered look across the face, I'm going to place it here versus, I don't want to put it down here. That's going to give me shadows up front or up the nose. And that's another thing that I learned early on is people don't teach newborn photographers what uplighting is. Like, what is it? You
Mhm.
just kind of figure it out when you enter your image into a competition and you hopefully get some feedback and they say, hey, by the way, this is uplighting. That's actually what happened to me 12, 15 years ago
Mm.
was I entered an image into like a review or something and they said, well, this is uplighting. And I had done that. I lit a baby from the bottom up. and um and it's the exact same thing. It's just taking your perspective and changing it. It's not any different than it would be anywhere else. Um, but my biggest thing with newborns is really big modifiers, really making sure you've got that um, big diffused light that's really easy to feather, and just not being afraid to play with it.
Mm.
Typically I only need one light source with a newborn. They're so tiny.
Right.
I really only need one light source. I will now and then bounce it. I'll grab a foam board or something and bounce it if I need to fill some shadows a little bit here and there, but that's pretty rare. And a lot of times with that, I'll even just say, "Hey, dad, come stand here and hold this white fabric," because it's easier to
Hmm.
go get than I've got my fabric here,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bulbs in
Yeah.
the other room, and he'll just stand there. Um, so
So,
I
so we call that voice activated reflectors.
yes. Exactly, and they're usually pretty eager to help because they've not been doing anything this whole time. Mom's in hair and makeup, baby's working with me, and they're just kinda sitting there.
Uh-huh.
I tell them they don't have to come till later, but a lot of times they do, so
Yeah.
they're pretty eager to help.
So one of the things that even I, when I think about how I would explain how to use window light
Mhm.
with a newborn, because you can't tip it down, you can't move it around, you can move the
So, I think I'm
baby
more
around,
like mean. I don't tip my light. I keep it straight up and down just like a window.
but you move it to a spot that's just
Right.
right. So if you're photographing in a home and
Mhm.
using window light, which is where a lot of people start, and actually I love using a light that's already there when I
Yeah.
can, and I find it's trickier. Do you have any tips on how to think about a window? Or when I photographed my nephew, I used the doorway, um, and in the same way that I would have used a light if we were in the studio. Any thoughts on what to be careful of, mindful of, or tips on that?
Yeah, I mean, just making sure that you don't have direct sun coming through is a big one.
Yes.
I started in people's homes with windows too, and
Hmm.
I would bring big pieces of, like, chiffon or, like, a thinner fabric so that if I needed to tack it up over their door frame, I could, or their window frame, I could, and then it would diffuse things a little bit more, if I only had, like, a south-facing window and it didn't work out very well for me. Um you're not gonna have as much control with the light that way, but that's not a problem. That doesn't mean you can't use it. The biggest thing is if the window's here, baby's head is always tilted this way. You
Right.
never want the top of the head going the opposite way as of the light. And, that's probably the biggest thing is
Right.
keep the baby's head toward that light on
Right.
every occasion. Um, but you don't have to overthink it really. I think the best thing I ever did was grab one of my kids and I stuck him by this light and I said, "Okay," and you can do this with a friend,
Hmm.
stuck him by this light by the window and said, "Okay, just stand there for a second. I need to just look at this." And I just had them move their head,
Hmm.
you know, and kinda move their body, and that's one of the best ways that I started to understand light was outside of a session just looking at it.
Right.
Just looking at how it's falling, like, I can't do anything right now, I've got a big flat light on me, but, looking at how it's falling on the face and then starting to understand how to position the babies that I'm working with so that it is lit appropriately, for that kind of a situation.
Right. One of the big revelations I had, I don't know if this was Zoom in person, uh, something I did on my own. I can't page back to that moment that I saw that, but uh, we had a person start in with their sideways to the light in
Mhm.
the middle, and then have them back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. And a little past the window was that beautiful uh, wraparound light
Right.
that is, it was like, oh, and it's similar to in the studio when they talk about feathering the
Mhm.
light, where you move it so that you're not pointing the hot spot right to the subject, you're turning it so that the edge of the light
Exactly.
can be beautiful. So we can do that with windows. Ashley, my April 1st solo episode of the podcast was about light. And I have this where would Lucy sit question if I'm out to dinner with someone.
Mhm.
And the question is, if it's a date, where do I sit? Well, I sit. so that I'm either facing the window or or a little bit to the side so that I look my best.
Exactly.
If it's a friend, I'll turn my back to the light so that I can appreciate the beauty and the sparkle in my friend's eyes. And I
Yeah.
have coaching clients pretend they're at a round table in front of a window and have their subject sit at 8 different spots and see what the light is
Yeah.
like. So what I love, what I'm hearing from you, is this is about learning to see
Hmm.
and to practice not on paying clients at the moment, but I have a doll that was my mother's that is the perfect, it sits up, its head turns. Now it's looking pretty ragged, but I used it all the time to do those experiments on light. Uh,
Yeah.
so even getting a doll that you
Oh
can
yeah.
play with.
I've
Um,
done that before as well, getting a doll. I mean, you use what you have. That's how I practiced wrapping newborns for the longest time, was finding the
oh,
biggest teddy bear I could. And I would wrap that teddy bear over and over and over and over in different types of wraps. And now I'm a wrap master and I can take any newborn and get them wrapped up into something pretty.
I love it.
But it's using what you've got.
Yeah. So rap master has a different connotation in photography compared to music.
Hey, throw some Hamilton bars at me, I'll rap that way too. But
That's right. I have an episode coming up with Jamar Jones, who was a rap master and
yeah,
became a photographer. So I guess it's the theme for April.
there you go.
All right. So, any tips about rapping?
Um, yeah, one, I think I heard Kelly Brown say this forever ago. This had to have been at least 15 years ago. I'm pretty sure I heard her say this on like Creative Live or something
Hmm?
somewhere. And she just said, rap through the cry. When a baby
Oh,
is upset, don't keep stopping to soothe them. You've got to get them wrapped first. So wrap through the cry. And I would definitely say practice on teddy bears and things like that. You do have to learn your tension. On one hand, I say you've got to wrap them snug. Like they've got to be nice and tight. If they're busting out, it's too loose. They
hmm.
need to be in there nice and snug. You need to learn where to put them so that their joints are safe and secure. Um, but also learn how to check to be sure that your wrap is not too tight.
Oh,
So this is where taking a safety course is concerned, making sure that you understand what the signs are in a newborn that's overheating, because newborns don't sweat like we do.
mm,
So making sure you understand what it looks like when a newborn is overheating, making sure you know what it looks like if a baby's losing circulation in their hands or in their feet. Newborn safety is a big thing
yeah,
that it gets talked about, but it doesn't. And it's something that I think anybody who's going to be a newborn photographer needs to address and needs to be learning. Take a newborn safety course, please. Don't
absolutely.
just jump into this.
Yeah.
And then on that note, with newborn hips, never, ever, ever strap a newborn so that their legs are straight like this. I will say this I say this in every single one of my workshops. Do not wrap a baby so that their hips are straight. This is very anatomically wrong for a newborn. If you're not, just either bring them up or leave their hips alone if you don't know how to do it. Um, we really don't want to be messing with those joints. It can hurt them.
That's something I never would have thought of. Um, I so Ashley, I've been around since well, 82 is when I got my business license, so a little while. And one of the first things I did, there was a company that got lists from hospitals of new babies. And they would go to the home, they would set up a quick little studio, and the way they photographed the babies made them look older. Like they would sit them up,
Hmm.
a 1 month old, sit them up, move the hand, click, catch them before they fell over. And
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever seen the
mm,
wrapping the arms and legs and putting a towel, something over their head, all these weird poses that when I got into it myself, I was like, I'm going to pose a newborn like a newborn, not
yeah.
not try to make it look older. But what I learned from going with the photographer who was a master at this style is the most painful part of a baby is the back of the arms, and that being really careful and mindful to not squeeze there, not put a lot of tension on that particular spot. That's why I don't like blood pressure things because it's squeezing the tender part. But I
Yeah.
love that there's also safety things that, you don't want to literally hang a child from a twig.
Oh,
Hope
you remember that, do
that
you?
the say more about that.
Oh, I'm wondering if you're referring to something that hit the newborn community. I got to think. This happened when I was my second child, around the time she was born. So this was probably about 12 years ago, 13 years
Hmm.
ago, when somebody did hang a baby in a tree.
Hmm.
And it rocked the newborn photography world in an insane way. I mean, I think that's when newborn safety courses really started to make
Right,
their
right.
debut.
Yeah. Ann Geddes' uh, setups with newborns are not even pre-digital photography because it goes way back to the film days. But
Mhm.
and she has like a trampoline underneath her. You know, she knows the safety, and yeah, I
Mhm.
love that that's something that you teach and that it has become popular in that way. Um, is there an age? Because what I've read from the newborn community is like 4 days to 10 days. You can wrap them, but after that, they start to look too old. It's hard to get them to sleep. Uh,
No.
no?
I've been doing this a very long time. Um, and there is not a magic age. I will not take a baby if I can help it before 7 days old.
Okay.
And that's because I first and foremost, I want that baby and the mom to be able to bond, to have their time, to get home, for her milk to come in if she's
Hmm.
breastfeeding, for them to establish even an iota of a routine. That is paramount for their well-being, which is my biggest concern. My sweet spot is between 7 and 21 days ish.
Okay.
But again, there's no magic age. I will have a baby come in that's 14 days old and be an absolute nuisance, but then I'll have the occasional baby that was in the NICU and comes in at 6 or 8 weeks old and they're incredible. It really doesn't matter.
Okay.
It depends on a lot of different factors. And this kind of notion that if you get them in on day 12 exactly, they'll be perfect is hogwash.
Yeah. So, do you wait till they fall asleep? Do you do things when they're awake with
No, I don't wait for them to fall asleep. I say all the time, I'm not afraid of an awake baby anymore. I think we
good?
all were when we first started, but
Hmm?
I'm not afraid of an awake baby anymore. My workflow is that I start with my wrapped images because if it hits the fan and I'm not able to get a full gallery of like every pose that I would have planned, I can still get a full gallery with wrapped images.
Hmm.
So I always start with potato wrap and I can get 3, 4 different sets with that one wrap, before I get bored. And then I can move on to different wraps and different setups, and we just gradually wrap in ways that are less and less constrictive or less and less, wrappy, I guess,
Hmm.
until we get to a point where they don't have one on.
Mm.
And they're usually awake when I grab them, and a lot of times they're a little bit fussy, but that wrap usually will calm them down, and, it will get them ready for the rest of the session.
I love it. Can you give me a tip? I've tried to do what I call the monkey face with the little tush up in the air. Uh, that you just can't lay them flat and think there's going to be prettiness in the body. Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about? Do you have any
I do.
tips on?
So that pose is called froggy pose
Okay,
within the
so
newborn world.
monkey,
So
froggy.
froggy pose. The first thing that I would tell you to do is you're always gonna pose them in your hands first. And second thing is I actually encourage people to try this pose themselves, and they'll understand why it doesn't work on a flat table.
Hmm.
So pose them in your hands first, meaning get this one hand up in there. You're gonna want it back on the back of the jaw. Let me move my headphones. you're going to want it back on the back of the jaw as far as you can get it. Because if it comes up here, you're just squishing the face and nothing, you're not going to get a good picture. But if you can get it back on the back of the jaw as far as you can, I'm not going to worry about their fingers yet. I will let them fist at the beginning. If I'm going to worry about those details in a minute, but I'll get this one until they're nice and calm. She's still just sitting in my lap, and then I get this one up here, and I'm holding. Sorry,
Mm,
I'm holding hands right here, and my other hand is behind their bottom or behind their back while they're sitting on my lap, and she'll be sitting on my lap like this,
mm-hmm,
just like that. And then when I'm ready, I will then pick her up. So I got her hands here, bottom here, and her legs are splayed out forward. And I will then just set her down in my space. Now, I mentioned that this doesn't work on a flat table. Rarely does it work on a flat table. And honestly, it doesn't work with every baby. Breech babies love it.
mm,
But there's some babies just don't. Some love it, some don't. I'm past the point of feeling like I have to make it happen. But I always have a support. So they are actually not flat. I will have a rounded support like this.
mm.
And their bottom goes down here. So their bottom is down here and they're actually leaning up. And so their
Oh,
face is going up like this.
okay.
And I am actually down at about a, if not 45-degree angle, at least a 30-degree angle, looking down
Okay.
at them. One, that makes it so that their weight is on their bottom instead of on their hands.
Mm,
I want as little weight on their hands and their chin as possible. So it's kind of that balancing act of before their head would tip back. I want
right.
them forward enough that their head is on here, and I'm never letting go of them, by the way.
Right.
And but the majority of their weight is still back on their bottom because I've got this support here, and their bottom is down here, and the rest of them is up like this. So their head is up here. And then the other thing that does is it makes it so I don't have to do a whole lot of background work in post because when I'm looking down, the entire background is full. It's rare that I have to do a whole lot to the background. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, almost every single shot that I'm doing on a solid backdrop is shot at that 45-degree angle, the 30-degree angle, like this. I'm almost never straight on. And that's one of the reasons why. It's also a little bit easier to light that way. But yeah, we'll have them like this. I don't want their elbows straight together like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's not as stable as if I give them a little bit of it like a tripod base like this
Right.
or like a triangle base. So I want their wrists together because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want this to happen.
Yeah.
But I do want there to have a triangle base. And so I'll hold their wrists together. I'll let this come out a little bit. And then for their hips, um, I do try to get their legs up. And if I can get their feet shown by their head, great. But if not, I at least want some toes or something, you
Yeah.
know? And my goal is to get at least I shoot with my light on my left side. My goal is to at least bare minimum get the foot out for their left side. My right side, their left side. So
Okay.
that if I need to, I can shoot it on an angle and then nobody knows the difference. um but yeah, it's one that takes a lot of practice
Yeah.
and patience, a lot of patience.
Do you do hands-on classes teaching this?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do people get hooked up
Well,
with your schedule and find you out in the world?
good question. I actually don't have my current workshop schedule up. That's a goal that I've had for the last month or so. But if you want to find me, you can find me on social media. It's at ALP Huntsville. That's my Instagram. Um, and I also have a TikTok account. That one is actually at a louder photo, because ALP Huntsville was taken. I don't know
Oh,
why,
okay.
but at ALP Huntsville on Instagram or at a louder photo on TikTok. And I'll
So,
probably set that up.
so if they go to ashleylouderphotography.com, are the
Mhm.
links there as well?
Yes, I do
Okay.
have a link there for photographers as well.
Okay. And that'll be in the show notes so people can look that up. Oh my gosh, I have a million more questions, but see that there's so much to learn and that you've spent so much time learning this from others and experience and all of that. So, yeah, this has been such a good conversation.
I'm
Um,
so glad.
so, is there just a parting thought or something that you would like to share with us before we have to say goodbye?
Yes. we talked about how you have to separate your worth from the worth what you charge from your worth, or how, I don't remember the genius way you put that. But
Your work
I
from
think
your
it's
worth.
your work from your worth. And I think it's the same when it comes to newborns. Newborns, whenever I talk to photographers about it, it's usually oh my gosh, I love newborns, or I absolutely will not touch newborns. It's one
Mhm.
or the other. And it's, I mean, that's how I feel about weddings. I will not do another wedding, period. But um, I think a lot of that reasoning is because sometimes people will get into newborn photography thinking it's going to be this whimsical, magical, amazing thing, and realizing it's a whole heck of a lot of work. And finding that it can become very daunting. So in the same way that you have to separate your work from your worth on the business side, you do have to separate the the outcome, or like the journey, from your ability.
Mm,
Uh, you will have sessions where you get in there, and that, I mean, it still happens. It's been 17 years for me. Um, you will get in there where you will have a baby that simply will not soothe. It has nothing to do with you. I
mhm.
promise you that. I think I've got a kid that just walked in here. It's got nothing to do with you.
Mm. Yes, I see little ghosts floating by in your blur. I
Sorry.
love it.
That is my husband.
Oh, so it's a big human floating by.
He was crawling across the floor. I love this
We
man
should
so much.
unblur so we can see him, but that might embarrass him. Okay,
Blur
you were
it.
saying separate the journey from your ability.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Um, oh my gosh. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a baby that comes in and is not, it doesn't seem to be liking you. They don't like you or dislike you. They are just there and has
Hmm.
nothing to do with you. Um, so the faster you can separate that, the better, because there is one thing that I have noticed is when I am super stressed, that baby does not act well.
Right.
You have to be able to zen. It is a it's almost like an exercise in meditation to
Mhm.
work with a newborn baby, because as soon as you get worked up internally, there's something that goes on pheromone wise. I don't know what it is, but a baby can feel it.
Hmm.
So staying calm, understanding that you're gonna do the best you can, educate yourself on both safety and workflows that will help you to be able to provide for the clients no matter what, and it'll be just fine.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Ashley, thank you so, so much for responding when I put out the
Absolutely.
alert that I need newborn photographers, and you've been way beyond my hopes. Uh,
That's so sweet. Thank you.
what?
You've been a pleasure to speak with. I've
Thank
really,
you.
really enjoyed this.
Thank you. Thank you. So everybody stay tuned for my little wrap up if you can. And I'm going to have a hard time finding, oh, there's a pause button. Zoom decided to change all the buttons for us today
Of course, keeping us on our
in
toes.
weird places. So, yeah. So Ashley, I'm sure would love to hear from you if you've got questions and want some private coaching or find out where she's teaching and such. I know she's done things with the PPA
Mhm.
organization, and yeah, so I hate to let you go. This was
I'll come on again sometime. How about that?
good. Yes, we'll talk more about your workflow of the business aspect than the that is beyond the baby stuff, because I know
Yeah.
you're a master at that as well. All right. So thank you, thank you. So hey, I loved that conversation, and I don't know why I haven't had more newborn photographers. Maybe they've just been so busy working that they didn't see my requests I put out there for photographers to interview. So, good news, Ashley is going to have her speaking schedule up by the time this episode airs. So, if you go to her website, which will be in the show notes, and it's her name plus photography, ashleylauderphotography.com. Uh, she'll probably have it up there or some way that you can get it. So let's see if I can quickly do a little summary. I did get some bullet points on that. Okay, so we talked about her workflow with her clients where they reach out to her and have maybe booked a call on her website. And so she has a, a long call and she'll book the session on the call. And then number three, she goes to their home and plans the session, looks at the walls and potential places to display art, looks in their closet, helps them pick out clothes if that's part of it. And then she comes back and she does in-home sessions. And then when the art is all done, she comes back and she installs it. So she does concierge service. And I'm sure that what her clients invest is significant and they feel like it's more than worth it. Okay, we talked a little about photographing babies, and we talked about how you want to develop your ability to see light and lighting the face using similar principles to when we photograph humans that are sitting up, but realizing that you're going to need some things a little bit different when they're laying down, but using the same principles. She said, I love this, take a safety course. This babies, like they're brand new in the world. We need to know what we can and can't do. And they're out there. We talked about wrapping, and she said, you keep wrapping them even if they're fussy, and practice on teddy bears and figure out how to wrap snugly, but I'm sure not cutting off circulation. That would be bad. Okay. um, Caution about the hips and the legs to not try to straighten everything out because they're not ready for that physically. Um, when she does a session, the first thing she does is the wrapped poses because she can get several different angles, different props, different backgrounds, and so forth, fabrics right away. So she's got plenty to sell if there's a meltdown and she's not able to get a lot of the other things that she will normally include in a session. Let's see. And her parting thoughts, and I came up with I need to trademark this. Uh, don't confuse your work with your worth. um, so she said, don't take it personally if babies are fussy, if they're not responding to what you are doing, because it's not about you. And at the same time, babies can be like little radar where if you're stressed, they'll pick up on it. So doing what you can to be centered and relaxed and clear and yeah, and don't take it personally. So that's it for now. Just a reminder on lucydumascoaching.com. I have my book, 10 Big Ideas for Marketing in the Real World. And until next time, bye.